I'm Paul Daddy from Paul Daddy's Blind Hog Barbecue, and today it's all about pumpkin spice spare ribs. Now, we just got through a long hot summer in my part of Texas, and we saw a whole lot of triple-digit temperatures. And to honor our success in making it into fall, this rack of pork ribs is seasoned up with pumpkin spice. Today we'll be smoking a rack of St. Louis style spare ribs, and these are pretty much already trimmed for you, except for maybe a few dangling tags that need to be removed. Let's start off by patting them dry with some paper towels and then dealing with that membrane on the back side of the ribs. Now, you can remove it or you can score it with a knife, and that'll be perfectly acceptable for a backyard cook. So today I'm going to remove it by using a pair of scissors, but a blunt knife works really well here too. Now, we're also going to use the old paper towel trick to enhance your grip and pull that membrane right off, but sometimes it doesn't come right off, and especially when you're doing a video. But nonetheless, we're going to get through it. Now, I'm going to score that area where the membrane was, and this is to illustrate how you would score it if you leave the membrane on. But it'll also help a tiny bit to get more rub down into the meat. Now, one way to deal with a membrane, if you decide to leave it on there, is to score it in two different directions and then smoke those ribs as normal and then finish them off on top of a hot grill. And this will be just fine. Most people will never even notice that membrane at all. Now, I like to add Worcestershire sauce as my binder, and the binder's optional, and a lot of people like to use yellow mustard. Worcestershire is considered a source of umami, and I like to use it to impart that savory flavor and taste to the cook. Use some sort of cling wrap underneath the ribs. Now, I have press and seal, but any plastic wrap will do, or you may prefer just to use foil. And we're going to start with the bone side of the ribs up. And to me, the bone side is called the B side, and the meat side we'll call the A side, or the presentation side. Give it a light coating of the Worcestershire sauce, and then we'll add a very generous amount of the pumpkin spice rub. Now, press the rub in occasionally as you season it up. Next, use seasoned salt, black pepper, onion powder, garlic powder, and then top it off with a very generous amount of brown sugar. Now, I usually substitute in turbinado sugar, which is what I've done here, because it's just a whole lot easier to work with, and it'll give you very similar results as the brown sugar. Now, seal them up the best you can, and we're gonna put these overnight in the fridge, and we will be back tomorrow to finish the job. My plan is to smoke these ribs in my Yoder YS1500 pellet smoker. And you could use the 3-2-1 method, but I'll be smoking these at 315 degrees Fahrenheit for a total of 2 hours. The first thing you need to do today is fire up that smoker and bring that temperature up to 315 degrees Fahrenheit. And after unwrapping your ribs, then they go on the top rack, and we're gonna put a drip pan underneath, and this helps to minimize the cleanup. I'm smoking with the meaty side up for 1 hour, and my timer is doing the countdown. Now, a little side project for this cook is to put 2 heaping tablespoons of lard into a suitable pot or pan, and then it goes into the smoker, and the lard will melt and it'll absorb some of that smoky flavor. And I picked up this trick over at the Mad Scientist Barbecue channel on YouTube. Now, once the first hour's up, then we're gonna lay out the ribs on butcher paper, and we're gonna pour that smoked and melted lard right on top. I'm using 2 sheets of butcher paper, but you may very well get by with only 1 sheet. Wrap them up in the butcher paper, and the meaty side of the rib should still be facing up. Now, back on the smoker at 315 degrees for the next 45 minutes. After that 45 minutes is up, then unwrap the ribs and back on the smoker for 15 more minutes. That's the formula for the 2-hour cook, but as you know, one size doesn't truly always fit all. You can also check the internal temperature. Now, opinions vary, but 202 degrees Fahrenheit cooks a pretty good rib. Now, if you decide you want falling off the bone good, then more like 210 degrees or maybe even a little more, that'll take you to the promised land. Now, a quick measure of the ribs is to simply probe the meat with your temperature probe, and then it should feel buttery smooth as that probe slides in and out. You can probe a few spots, and that'll let you know if you're ready or not. Once you decide they're ready, then you can take them off and you can foil them so you can rest them up 10 to 15 minutes, and that'll get you by for pork ribs. So I'm putting my foil wrapped ribs into this cooler, and that cooler also has a furniture blanket inside. If you absolutely don't want your ribs to continue cooking, then wrap them very loosely in the foil, and then you want to burp it every now and then to let the heat out so they don't continue to cook. Most of the time for cooking home ribs, I don't care if they cook a little more. I don't care if they fall off the bone. But now that we've given them a rest, let's see how we did. It's usually easier to slice these ribs when you're looking at that B side, the bony side. Now look at that. That's a decent smoke ring for a pellet smoker. Now it's very definitely in the acceptable range. These pumpkin spice ribs have a great flavor, and the smoked lard enhances that flavor. Pumpkin spice ribs are a fall winner, and you'll be glad you gave them a try. Now all you got to do is hit that like button on your way out, consider subscribing, and I hope to see you next time at Paw Daddy's Blind Hog Barbecue.